Now we are going to discuss about control. Let us define control. Control is checking current performance against predetermined standards contained in the plans with a view to ensuring adequate progress and satisfactory performance. Control is checking current performance against predetermined standards, which is contained in the plans with a view to ensuring adequate progress and satisfactory performance. Whether we have achieved the goal or not, whether we are towards the goal or not, this is what the control is going to assess. Also, another definition, control is determining what is being accomplished, evaluating the performance, and if necessary, applying corrective so that the performance takes place according to plan. Suppose, if an employee is assigned a particular task, the management function control will observe whether it is in the right track, whether it is done as per the standard fixed by the organization, how long it needs, as per the time schedule, whether it is going or not. This is what the control function will identify. Assume that in a manufacturing unit which is generating a generator, so spare parts will be collected together from the material section within a stipulated date as per the requirement of the production. The assembling section will manufacture or integrate the assemblies. After complete finished goods, the quality check will verify whether according to the standard fixed, the generator is giving the output or not. So that is how the definition what we have discussed earlier can be identified with an example. Control is determining what is being accomplished, evaluating the performance, and if necessary, applying corrective so that the performance takes place according to plans. Therefore, the nature of control can be identified from these two definitions. Control is a process which is universal. So everywhere control is a must. And also control is a continuous process. We cannot control for some time and we cannot leave that function. Then control should be always forward looking. It should be always destination oriented. Control involves measurement. There should be a yardstick to identify whether we have achieved or not, or how much control should be there. And control is an influence process. If there is a control, it will influence the performance. These are the process involved in the control. So, the nature of the control can be defined as control process is universal, control is a continuous process, control is always forward looking, control involves measurement, control is an influence process. So, these are the nature of control. Now, let us discuss about the steps involved in control process. So, in control process, there are 5 steps involved. Number 1, establishment of standards, measurement of standards, comparing performance with the standards, analysis of deviation, taking corrective action. Let us discuss these 5 points, which are the steps involved in control process with our own example. Let us assume that we are manufacturing 1 centimeter radius rod. So 1 centimeter radius rod is a establishment of standard. 1 centimeter is a measurement to be verified. So after manufacturing, whether it has 1 centimeter radius or not is a comparison. While doing this comparison, if there is any deviation exists, whether it is 0.9 centimeter or 1.1 centimeter, it should be identified. That is called analysis of deviation. And if there is any deviation, the manufacturing unit should be rectified either from the resource side or from the material side or from the raw material side or from the machinery side. That is called corrective action. So, we are establishing a standard that we are going to manufacture 1 centimeter radius rod, and we are going to measure in our manufacturing unit whether it is going to manufacture 1 centimeter radius or not. And after manufacturing, we are going to do a comparison with the standard fixed as 1 centimeter and the manufactured measurement. Then if there is any deviation is there or not, we are going to analyze called the analysis of deviation. If there is any deviation, it should be measured or it should be activated with the corrective action. So, the control step or control process involved with the 5 steps: establishment of standards, measurement of standards, comparing performance with the standards, analysis of deviation, taking corrective action. Next, we are going to discuss about the techniques How we are going to control? The traditional techniques are budgetary control, cost control, production control, inventory control, break-even analysis, profit and loss control, statistical data analysis, audit externally and internally. In an organization, while controlling an organization, in all these aspects, the traditional techniques will be adopted. Budgetary control will take care of the financial aspect, cost control will take care of the cost aspect, production control will take care of the productive aspect, inventory control will take care of the manufacturing aspect, break-even analysis will take control over the profit-making aspect, profit and loss control will control the financial aspect, statistical control will help you in the inventory aspect, audit control will control the overall aspect of the organization. So, traditional techniques involved all these control aspects. Modern devices are there. We can do management audit, return on investment audit, PERT and CPM, responsibility accounting. So, these are the auditing aspects in the modern devices. So, earlier we have seen traditional devices, now we have seen modern devices. Coordination, which is another function of the organization, management. Features of coordination can be, coordination is applied on group efforts, not on individual efforts. Because coordination between or among the people only. So, coordination is applied on group efforts, not on individual efforts is rightly said. Coordination is a continuous and dynamic process. So, continuously coordination should be there, not for a certain period, thereafter non-coordination. So, coordination is a must process to be followed in continuously. Then, it is a dynamic process. It cannot be a static coordination, it should be dynamic coordination. How much coordination needed to achieve the objective, that much coordination should be provided. So, coordination is a dynamic process. Coordination emphasizes unity of efforts. There should be unity while contributing coordination. So, coordination emphasizes always unity of efforts. Coordination is managerial responsibility and management tries to achieve it through various functions. Without coordination, achievement will be difficult task. Coordination has a common purpose of getting organizational objectives, which depends on the degree of coordination. So, coordination is an important function of the organization or management. Need for coordination. When organization grows in size, it requires a large number of individuals. However, their efforts towards mutual goals do not automatically mesh with the efforts of others. To perform the different functions properly by these individuals, managers have to recognize the difference in approach, timing, effort and interest. Thus, in an organization, coordination is needed because of two factors: number and complexity of activities, conflicting individuals and organizational goals. So, these two factors will help the manager to keep coordination. Forms of coordination: coordination of various activities, coordination of individuals. These are the two different forms. While discussing about coordination, it should be understood. Then, primary reason for coordination is interdependence. Greater the need for interdependence among the various units, the more coordination the company needs. So, coordination is an important function. Techniques of coordination. Useful devices for achieving coordination among interdependent units are managerial hierarchy, rules and procedures, liaison roles, task forces, integrating departments, planning, committees, induction, incentives, workflow. With the help of these type of devices, we can establish coordination in an organization. Managerial hierarchy. By forming an hierarchy, coordination will exist. Similarly, by framing rules and procedures, coordination can be improved. By giving liaison roles, coordination can be enhanced. By establishing task force, coordination can be implemented. With keeping integration in departments, coordination will improve. Also, coordination can be established by planning, committees, induction, incentives and workflow. There are barriers to coordination also. Coordination is not an exception for barriers. Paul, Lawrence and others has identified 4 such barriers in coordination: differences in orientation towards particular goals, differences in time orientation, differences in interpersonal orientation, difference in informality of structure. So, orientation, time, interpersonal, informality of structure are the 4 major barriers identified by Paul as barriers to coordination. Requisites need for excellent coordination. So, To achieve the excellent coordination, good coordination attacks problems as they arise. Excellent coordination anticipates them and prevents their occurrences. Some of the important requisites for excellent coordinates are coordination by direct contact, coordination by early start, coordination by continuity, coordination by reciprocal relation. So, by establishing a direct contact, early start, continuity and reciprocal relation, an excellent coordination can be established. Similarly, there are techniques for effective coordination: chain of commands, by leadership, by effective communication, by committees, by general staff, by special coordination, by self-coordination are the techniques we can achieve effective coordination. Coordination and cooperation. Coordination is related with the synchronization of efforts which may have amount, time and direction attributes. To each manager, it affords a means of viewing in true perspective of work of the particular unit or department which he is in charge. Whereas cooperation is collective action of one person with another or other person towards common goal. The act of cooperation leads to the establishment of cooperative system in which physical, biological, personal and social factors or elements are present. Therefore, cooperation is the spirit which works under the motto each for all and all for each. Coordination involves the integration of human efforts for achieving the goal, which is not a particular function but the basic objective of all the managerial functions. Next function is decision making. A conscious and human process involves both individual and social phenomena based upon factual and value premises, which concludes with a choice of one behavioral activity from among one or more alternatives with the intention of moving towards some state of affairs. Decision making involves following characteristics. Decision making is a process of selection and the aim is to select the best alternative. Decision making is aimed at achieving the objectives of the organization. Decision making is a mental process because the final selection made after thoughtful consideration. Decision making involves the evaluation of available alternatives because only through this evaluation can one know the best alternative. Decision making involves rationality because through decision one tries to better one's happiness. Decision making involves a certain commitment which may be for short run or long run depending upon the type of decision. Types of decision making based on subject involved: technical decision making, managerial decision making, institutional decision making. The types of decision making basic 5 sets of decisions: organizational and personal decision, routine and strategic decision, policy and operative decision, programmed and non-programmed decision, individual and group decision. While taking decision, there are steps involved. According to Stanley Vance, decision making consists of the following steps: perception, conception, investigation, deliberation, selection, promulgation. Perception, a state of awareness out which a consciousness of being arises, whereas conception, powers of the mind which develops ideas out of perception. Concepts might be termed schemes or designed for action, whereas investigation, the search for and the acquisition of information pertinent to specific concepts so that the relative advantages and the limitations of alternative course of action can be compared. Deliberation, a mental weighing of relative merits and the consequences attached to alternative schemes of action. Selection, a discrimination among the available alternatives so that the most desirable course of action is designated as a decision. Promulgation, a declaration or public pronouncement of the decision so that all persons concerned are adequately notified. Decision making process is a continuous one. The decision making process involves the following steps. While doing decision making, identifying the problem to do decision making, analyzing the problem, search for alternative, evaluation of alternative, comparison of alternative, selection of alternative, putting decision into action, following up decision in process as a feedback. MBE. Good morning. Now we are going to discuss about the word term management. Management is a term It has its own definition, characteristics, nature, and also we are going to discuss whether management is a science or art, and what are the significance of a management. What's the difference between administration versus management? So under principles of management, these are the objectives now we are going to discuss. Management. Management plays an important role in modern business world. Management is a mind of the industry. Management is a life-giving, dynamic element in every business. This was told by Drucker. Management is the guidance, leadership, and control of the efforts of a group of people towards some common objective. Management is not merely the task of managing the business. Management is an essential accomplishment of all social organizations and is to be found everywhere as a distinct and dominant activity. That is, management functions are universal applications. That's why we used to say management is pervasive. That means management is everywhere where there is an activity without management. So, management role is an important role. Management is the mind of the industry. Management is a life-giving, dynamic element in every business. Management is the guidance. Management is the leadership and control of efforts of a group of people towards some common objective or goal. It's not merely the task of managing the business. It is an essential accomplishment of all social organizations and is to be found everywhere as a distinct and dominant activity. So that is how the introduction of the management means. Now, let us discuss about the meaning of the word management. Management is a task which includes planning, coordinating, motivating, and controlling the efforts of others towards the specific objectives. So it includes the functions called planning, coordinating, motivating, and controlling. Not only that, the efforts of others towards the specific objectives. There should be a common objective. That is what the meaning of the word specific objective. Next, management is the art of getting things done through others. In a management, the work should be done by others. The manager will not do any work. He will make others to do work. That's what the indirect meaning of the manager also. So management is the art of getting things done through others. So management is the art. So management is the development of people and not the direction of things. So it improves the people. It's not only giving the direction. This is what the meaning of the word management. Now, let us see some definition given by the expert authors. As per Kuhns and O'Tunnell, management is the task of the manager to establish and maintain an internal environment in which people working together in groups can perform effectively and efficiently towards the attainment of group goals. Understand? Attainment of group goals. That means there should be a common objective. This is what Kuhns and O'Tunnell defined. Similarly, William defined management is that function of an enterprise which concerns itself with the direction and the control of the various activities to attain the business objective. So here, to attain the business objective. That's what William said. As per Bhushan, as the function of guiding, directing, and unifying human efforts and activities for the accomplishment of given task. Given task is nothing but a common objective. So, different authors gave different definitions. Now, in general, let us see the characteristics of management. Management is an activity. Management is a purposeful activity. Management is concerned with the efforts of a group. Management is getting things done by others. Management applies economic principle. Management involves decision making. Management coordinates all activities and resources. Management is an universal activity. Management is an integrating process. Management is concerned with direction and control. So from the introduction, the characteristics of a management can be said like this. So let us see once again. Management is an activity. So it speaks about the action only. And then the other sentence says management is a purposeful activity. So that means there should be an activity and that activity should have a purpose. Then the third one says management is concerned with the effort of a group. That means effort should be pumped in and it should be done by a group of people. Similarly, management is getting things done, so it should attain the objective. So things should be completed. The assignments should be completed. The objectives should be completed. So that is what the meaning of the sentence. Management is getting things done. Similarly, management applies economic principle. So you cannot complete a job at any cost, at an optimum cost. That's what the meaning. Management involves decision making. There should be an operation called the decision making. That is a characteristics of management. Management coordinates all activities and resources. A management should coordinate whatever the activities happening under that management and also the resources. So there exists a coordination and is an universal activity. It is not specific for a particular place or particular nation or particular continent. It is an universal phenomena. It happens everywhere. It is an universal activity. Management is an integrating process. That means there are so many processes, it should be integrated as a single unit. That's what management. Management is concerned with the direction and the control. So always there exists a direction and there should be a control in a management environment. These are the characteristics of management. In addition to that, management is intangible. Certain things you cannot visualize. It's an intangible activity. Management is both art and science. Management possesses the characteristics to declare it as an art. Similarly, management is giving opportunity to do invention, so it is also a science. So management is both science and art. Management is a profession. By nature, management is a profession. Management is an interdisciplinary approach. So it is not an individual disciplinary, it is an interdisciplinary. It is engaged with so many disciplines like economics, social, medical, education, etc., etc. So we can say and conclude it is an interdisciplinary approach. Management is dynamic and it's not static. So it's very clear. Management is often changing, not stable. That's what the meaning of the word dynamic and not static. So management is a dynamic and not static characteristics oriented object. So these are the characteristics of management. So there should be activity, it should be purposeful, there should be effort, a group of people, and things should be done. Economic principles should be applied. Decision making should be a process. Coordination should be there. It should be common to all as an universal activity. There should be integrating process. It concerned with the direction and control. It is an intangible. It's both science and art. It is also a profession. It is an interdisciplinary approach. It is dynamic, not static. These are the characteristics of a management. Then, when management is a science, if it is going to be declared as a science, what are the basic characteristics management should possess? Let us see. If it is an organized theoretical knowledge, if it is empirically derived, if it is critically tested and generalized into theories, laws and principles, any subject which has a body or systematic knowledge can be rightly regarded as science. So if I am going to declare, or if we are going to declare management is a science, first it should fulfill the characteristics of a science. What are the characteristics? Organized theoretical knowledge. We have to check whether management is having organized theoretical knowledge or not. Yes, it has. It should be empirically derived. In management, empirical study is there. So every situation, empirical study will be carried out as a part of the process. So management is having another characteristic of science. Critically tested and generalized into theories, laws and principles. In management, in many places, critical analysis will happen and they will be generalized into theories and related law and principles will be adopted. So it is a part of the characteristics of a science. Any subject which has a body or systematic knowledge can be rightly regarded as science. In management, there is a body or systematic knowledge which can be regarded as science. So management satisfies all these basic characteristics of a science. Sorry. Good morning. Today we are going to discuss about derivatives. Let us discuss about the basics of derivatives. Before understanding the concept of derivatives, it is better to make clear about the terminology such as risk. Where risk is event which will explain you uncertainty. Whereas here, goal of risk management to maximize the value of the firm by reducing the negative potential impact of forces beyond the control of management. There are four basic approaches to risk management. They are risk avoidance, risk retention, loss prevention and control, and risk transfer. Now we will define the word derivative. Where derivative is a financial instrument whose value depends on or derives from some underlying variables such as assets. And derivatives are used for changing the risk exposure. While doing derivative operation in financial environment as an instrument, hedging is another terminology we should be familiar with. Where hedging is a situation when the firm reduces its risk exposure with the use of derivatives. It is said to be called a terminology called hedging. In addition to that, derivatives as a leveraging tool we can also use. It is increased use for speculation. It is a word of caution where bearing bank, orange count, PNC, LTCM, etc. The derivatives can be of different types. There are four types. They are futures, forwards, options and swaps. Let us discuss about the word forward. Forward is a type of contract where forward is an agreement to buy or sell an asset of a specified quantity at a certain future time for a certain price. Similarly, future is a contract where a variant of the forward contract that takes place on financial exchanges. Now let us differentiate the two types of derivatives called future and forward, where the seller can choose to deliver the commodity on any day during the delivery month, whereas future contracts are traded on an exchange, whereas forward contracts are generally traded off an exchange. The prices of futures contracts are marked to the market on a daily basis. This is the difference between future and forward. Now let us discuss about the third type of derivatives, options. Options are special contractual arrangements giving the owner the right to buy or sell an asset at a fixed price anytime on or before a given date. They give the buyer the right but not obligation to exercise the contract. Two types of options are there. They are call option and put option. Call options. A call option gives the owner the right to buy an asset at a fixed price during a particular time period. The value of a call option at expiration can also be explained. If the stock price is greater than the exercise price, we say that the call is in the money, whereas the payoff of a call option at expiration is number one. If stock price is greater than strike price, call option value equal to stock price minus strike price. If stock price is lesser than strike price, call option value will be 0. Similarly, put option. A put option gives the holder the right to sell the stock for a fixed exercise price. The value of a put option at expiration can be explained in a graphical representation. Now, let us discuss about the selling options. An investor who sells or writes a call on common stock prices to deliver shares of the common stock if required to do so by the call option holder. The seller loses money if the stock price ends up above the exercise price, and he merely avoids losing money if the stock price ends up below the exercise price. Why would the seller of a call place himself in such a precarious position? Valuing option. Valuing option is a situation where the situation determines the value of options when you buy them well before expiration. Bounding the value of a call, arbitrage profit, upper bound, etc. It turns out the upper boundary as the price of the underlying stock. The factors determining call option values can be specified in 4 different ways. Number 1, exercise price, 2, expiration date, number 3, stock price, number 4, the key factor, where the key factor is nothing but the variability of the underlying asset. Factors determining put option values can be denoted as number 1, the put market value decreases as the stock price increases. The value of a put with a high exercise price is greater than the value of an otherwise identical put with a low exercise price. Number 3, the value of a put with a distant expiration date is greater. Number 4, volatility of the underlying stock increases the value of the put. Similarly, swaps contract can also be explained. Swaps are arrangements between two counterparts to exchange each flow over time. Two basic types are there in swap contracts. Number 1 is interest rate swaps, currency swaps. Let us discuss about currency swaps. Currency swaps are swaps of obligations to pay cash flows in one currency for obligations to pay in another currency. Thank you very much. Now we are going to discuss about the third principles of management, discipline. We have discussed about the division of work, authority and responsibility. As we discussed earlier, division of work helps to derive benefits from the principle of specialization. Similarly, authority and responsibility are the two sides of management and complementary and mutually interdependent. Now we will see discipline. Discipline is an essential for smooth functioning of an enterprise. If there is no discipline, there is no smoothness in an organization. Also, discipline refers to strict adherence to rules formulated and procedures evolved. In an organization, rules to be adhered and the procedures to be followed. So, discipline is an important function and important principle in an organization. Discipline demands good superiors at all levels of management. So, in all levels, a well-disciplined supervisor should be there. The best way to maintain discipline is good supervisor at all levels, clear and fair agreement between employer and employee, penalties and fines for non-obedience. So, discipline is an important principle to be followed. The fourth one is unity of command. An employee should receive orders from one superior only for any action. So, too many bosses will be always confusion. So, employee will not accept it. So, if there is an organization, he should be directed by one superior. That is what the identity of unity of command under the principles of management. Then a worker is accountable to one superior. So, there should be one superior. An employee or a worker should report to only one superior. Then only there will not be any confusion or conflict. And should not have multiple bosses. It will lead to divide responsibility or choice will be the ultimate result. If there are too many bosses, there will be too much of confusion called choice. So, it is always better a command should be from unity direction, that's called one direction. Then, next principle, unity of direction. All employees of an organization must work together to achieve the objective of the organization. Employees' efforts should be directed towards one common super goal. That means, there should be a common objective. Every employee should understand that he is working for a common objective. There is a common objective. His contribution is also very important. And he has to work towards the direction. And that particular direction is towards common objective. So, all employees of an organization must work together to achieve the objective of the organization. And every individual should not have different objectives. It is not fair in the organizational point of view. Subordination of individual interest to general interest. Next principle. It is also called the principles of cooperation. Each shall work for all and all for each is the mantra of this principle. Each shall work for all and all for each is the mantra of this principle called the principles of cooperation. Common interest must be supreme in any enterprise. If there exists an enterprise or a commercial environment, there should be a common interest, collective interest, but not personal interest, which will collapse the organization. Therefore, principles of cooperation is an important principle. Then, remuneration. Fair pay and the non-financial rewards can act as the best incentive for good performance. In an organization, remuneration is also an important principle which should be followed. for every fair job, fair pay, and non-financial reward, appreciation, recognition, and admiration. This is all called non-financial reward or award, can act as the best incentive for good performance. So, if an organization provides these things, they will do the best performance. Then, exploitation of employees must be avoided. Employees should not be exploited. They should be honored with right fair or fair pay, right pay or fair pay. When decent wages are paid, there will be high morale and increased efficiency. This is a tested and proven principle. So remuneration is an important principle to be followed in an organization to attain a better performance. The next principle is centralization. If higher role and importance were given to subordinates, it is decentralization. If they have given less role and importance, it is centralization. There must be good balance between centralization and decentralization of authority and power. So extreme level to both should be avoided. So according to the capacity, the power should be decentralized. Then only the employee will work. By keeping the power at a central point, at a single point, we cannot achieve the better performance. So centralization should be balanced properly with the decentralization. Then scalar chain. It means steps. It refers to chain of superiors from highest executives to the lower one for the purpose of communication, otherwise called hierarchy of the organization. Top management to bottom management. Unity of command brings about a chain or hierarchy. Hierarchy of command links all members from top to bottom. If the hierarchy is clear vertically from the top to bottom, the communication will be clear then. Proper functioning of the organization will be also ensured. The next principle is order. Order refers to arrangements of things and persons. There should be a place for everything and for every person. Order or system alone can create a sound organization and efficient management. Disorder leads to chaos and confusion. So order is an important principle. Then equity. Equity is a combination of kindness and justice. Equity means fair dealings, accommodative or cooperative attitude of members in an understanding. Equity ensures cordial relationships, loyalty and devotion, etc. in an organization where it consists of human beings, a group of people involved in joint effort. Then the next principle, stability of tenure of personal job security. Employees should be assured job security so that they will show keen interest in the organization. If fear of insecurity exists, their morale will be low and they cannot contribute to their best. Hence, management should generate a feeling of security in the minds of employees. So, job security is an important principle which should be with stability. The next principle is initiative. Initiative means the freedom and capacity to think out original plans and execute them with independent discretion. Initiative can give sound managerial planning and execution of predetermined plans. So, initiative is an important principle. Spirit of cooperation. Teamwork will never fail. For teamwork, there should be cooperation among employees so that the organization can achieve the objectives very comfortably. Thus, the important principles of 14 defined by Henry Fayol can be explained. Once again, we will recap. The important 14 principles are division of work, authority and responsibility, discipline, unity of command, unity of direction, subordination of individual interest to general interest, remuneration, centralization, scalar chain, order, equity, stability of tenure of personnel, initiative and spirit of cooperation. This is what the 14 principles of management. Now, we are going to discuss about the principles of management. Now we are going to discuss about the principles of management. So far what we have discussed is what is the meaning of the word management, what are the characteristics of your management, whether management is science or not. We have seen the meaning and definition of many authors like Kuhn, William, Bhushan, and also we have seen very clearly and elaborately what are the characteristics of management, how the management should be an activity with some purpose, how groups should be there with along with its efforts, how things should be done or not, what are the principles a management should adopt, like economic principle, and the process should include decision making, coordinating, controlling, organizing, planning, etc., etc. Also, we have seen management is an universal activity, and also it is an integrating process, and it is an intangible. And then we have seen that whether it is a science or art, we have raised the question. Now we have seen it is a science. So next, today we are going to discuss about whether management is an art. If it is an art, what are the characteristics it should possess? Shall we say management is an art or not? Now we will see art refers to practical applications of knowledge, and it is perfected through knowledge and experimentation. That means there should be knowledge and it should be with application, and also there exists an experimentation should be. You know very well, management involves the exercise of know-how or systematic skill for getting concrete results. Exercise of know-how. Know-how means technology or technique. Systematic skill. Systematic in the sense there should be a step-by-step procedure. We cannot do random activity. First we have to do this, next we have to complete this, or we have to process it. Like that, there exists a systematic approach. That approach should be along with the skill. That is what we call the systematic skill. So that is what technically interchanged, either know-how or systematic skill for getting concrete result. The result which we are going to arrive during the process of management activities should be definite and it should be concrete. That's what the meaning. Management involves the exercise of know-how or systematic skill for getting concrete results. Next, management possesses the important qualities of an art. What are the qualities of an art? Use of know-how and skill, directed to get concrete results. The success depends on ability. It's highly personalized. Basically, it is the nature of creative. So these are the important qualities of a management. It is similar to a characteristic of an art. Characteristics of an art. Since the process of management holds all important characteristics of an art, what are the important characteristics of art? There should be practical applications of knowledge, and it is perfected through knowledge and experimentation, and it should involve the exercise of know-how or systematic skills. Concrete results should be arrived. So, it is very clear, management is an art. We can declare management as an art. Now the question is, in the previous session we discussed management as a science. In the current session we have arrived that management is an art. Normally the question will arise automatically whether management is an art or science. We will see, since management possesses all the characteristics of science as we discussed in the previous session, and management is having a characteristics of art as we have discussed now. So it's very clear and easy to conclude management is both science and art. In fact, an art and science are not mutually exclusive field of endeavor, but are complementary. Therefore, management is both science and art. Now, as per our objective, whether management is a profession, when this question arises. So, if management satisfies the important attributes of a profession, we can say management is a profession. Then what are the attributes of a profession? The existence of an organized and systematic body of knowledge. There exists a systematic body of knowledge which should be organized. Next, it should acquire the required knowledge and skills through established institutions. So, it should acquire required knowledge through established institutions. It should possess ethical standards like honesty and integrity. So, if management is a profession, it should have honesty and integrity as an ethical standard, and it should serve with service motive as its principal motive. entitled to receive reasonable remuneration but should not be greedy. For the service rendered, there should be remuneration, but it should not be very huge, more than the equal consideration. That's what we call that. With service motive, it should be with service motive, and it should be with the principle, and it should be entitled to receive reasonable remuneration. So the remuneration is entitled, it's not a free obligation, but should not be greedy. That means it should not be beyond the capacity. With association to regulate the code of conduct of the member. So management is having association to regulate the code of conduct in their environment with other members. Therefore, management satisfies all the attributes of a profession. So we can say management is a profession. When it satisfies the attributes of a profession, we can very clearly declare that management is a profession. Therefore, management possesses attributes of a profession where body of systematic and substantial knowledge exists. It acquires knowledge compulsorily through institutions. Social responsibilities for business also have. It has service motive, etc. Also, business management associations are there for management in many countries. Hence, it is easy to conclude that management is a profession. Therefore, we can conclude management is a science, management is an art, management is a science and art, and also management is a profession. This is what the concept of science or art or profession. Now, let us discuss about the importance of management. The importance of management includes important factor in an organization. Management is an important factor in an organization. No other area of human activity is important as management. That is defined by Kernel. Importance of manager can be expressed as manager is dynamic, manager life-giving element in every business. Without his dealership, resource of production remain resources and never become production. Let us see once again. Importance of management we are discussing. While this is the case, we are defining the importance of a manager. Manager is dynamic, so he is not static. According to the situation, he is taking decisions. So it is very clear that manager is dynamic. Manager is giving life as a life element or life-giving element in every business. Without manager, a management will never get life. Manager without his leadership quality, resource of production remain resource. So resources are there. It should be converted into production. So it is rightly said, resource of production remain resources and never become production without the leadership of a manager. Therefore, manager is dynamic. Manager is a life-giving element in every business. Without his leadership, nothing will function. That's what the importance of a manager. In addition, we can say he is a coordinating force. He is to face cutthroat competition. Management is to solve labor problems. He is to take advantage modern scientific and technology innovation. He is to accept challenges or business complexities. He directs towards accomplishment of desired objectives. He helps in business best utilization of available resources, helps to increase the productivity, helps for country's economical development, helps to shoulder social responsibility. The importance of management can be narrated very clearly that management is an important factor in any organization. Management is a coordinating force. Management is to face cutthroat competition. Management is to solve labor problems. Management is to take advantage of modern scientific and technological innovation. Management is there to accept challenges or business complexities. Management directs towards accomplishment of desired objectives. Management helps in best utilization of available resources. It helps to increase the productivity. It helps the countries and its economical development. It helps to shoulder social responsibility. Now, let us discuss about the word administration. Administration can be defined as administration is regarded as a higher level of activity which is concerned with laying down broad goals and policies. Higher level of activity which is concerned with laying down broad goals and policies. So, see through the sentence. it is regarded as a higher level of activity. It is not possible to lower level of employment. At higher level of management, the administration will exist. And also, it is concerned with laying down broad goals, so objectives and policies. And also, we can define administration is concerned with the determination of corporate policies, coordination of finance, production and distribution, settlement of the compost of the organization, and the ultimate control of the executive. And also we can say administration establishes broad policies under which they are to operate and which gives a general oversight to the continuing effectiveness of the total operations in reaching the objective sought. So, management and administration we are going to differentiate. For the purpose, we are defining the word administration. Administration is regarded as a high level of activity which is concerned with laying down broad goals and policies. Now, let us compare in 4 aspects or 7. Let us compare in 8 aspects about the nature, scope, level, influence, directions of human effort, main functions, skills required, usage between administration and management. Let us see the natural aspect of administration and the natural aspect of management. In nature, administration is a determinative thinking function, whereas management is an executive or doing function. In the aspect of scope, administration concerned with the determination of major objectives and policies, whereas management concerned with the implementation of policies. In the level aspect, if you see, administration mainly at the top level function, whereas management is largely a middle and lower level function. In the aspect of influence, if you see, admin decisions are influenced by public opinion and other outside forces, whereas in management, managerial decisions are influenced by objectives and policies of the organization. Thus, natural aspects, scope aspects, level aspects, influence aspects, the administration and management differ. Now, let us further discuss in the aspect of direction of human effort, main functions, skills required and usage, the administration and between the administration and management. First, let us see in the aspect of directions of human effort, administration not directly concerned with the direction of human effort, whereas management actively concerned with the direction in the execution of plans and human effort. Similarly, in the aspect of main functions, administration is controlling and planning, whereas management directing and organizing. Similarly, in the aspect of skills required, administration conceptual and human skills, whereas management technical and human skills. In the aspect of usage, administration is used largely in government and public sector or government, ministry and commission, whereas management used mainly in business organization as in the definition of managing director, general manager, senior manager, branch manager, etc. Thus, the administration versus management can be differentiated in 8 aspects: natural aspects, in the aspect of scope, level-wise, influence, direction of human effort, main functions, skills required, usage, etc. This is what the difference between administration and management. Good morning. Now we are going to discuss about the functions of management. In this session, we are going to understand functions of management, principles of management, important functions, brief descriptions of the functions such as planning, organizing, staffing, directing and control. Let us see the functions of management. Many experts defined many functions. There is no unanimity among them about the functions defined as functions of management. They studied different organizations in different angles. Therefore, experts classified the functions of management are E.F.L. Breach, Henry Foyle, George Derris, Lindahl, Davis, Kuhn and O'Donnell, etc. Functions of management, the most important functions of management are planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling. But these 5 are the most important organs, but many authors defined many functions, and other functions are also there. Functions stated by different experts vary from 3 to 8, but unanimity in only 3. They are planning, organizing, and controlling. Whereas directing for achieving the goals stated as commanding, motivating, and communicating. Similarly, staffing is introduced as a separate function because experts give more importance to human resources. Thus, most important functions of management are planning, organizing, staffing, directing, and controlling. Now let us see in detail about the word planning. Planning is the most important functions of an organization. That means, if there is no planning, surely it is not at all an organization. Next, planning refers to rational and orderly thinking about the ways and means for the realization of objectives of the organization. That means, if an organization is going to achieve an objective, there exists a orderly thinking and rational thinking. That means, a systematic approach called step-by-step procedure should be organized properly to achieve the objective of the organization. That is why planning refers to rational and orderly thinking about the ways and means for the realization of objective. If you want to achieve, there exists orderly and rational thinking. That is what the meaning. Next, planning means determination of objectives to be achieved and the course of actions to be taken. Determination of objectives. That means you should be capable enough to take decisions and to be achieved. That means whatever objectives you have fixed and the course of action to be taken to achieve the objective, what are the steps to be adopted, actions to be taken, or course of action to be taken. Then planning implies decision making as to what is to be done, how it is to be done, when it is to be done, and by whom it is to be done. So, while you are doing planning to achieve the decision making, these type of analysis should be done. What is to be done, how it is to be done, when it is to be done, by whom it is to be done. That is what exactly planning. Also, planning helps in achieving the objectives effectively and efficiently. If you do planning, it will help you to achieve the particular objective effectively and efficiently. For example, you want to score a gold medal in MBA degree. That time, if you want to achieve that, you have to plan properly, which will help you to achieve that objective effectively and efficiently, because planning improves efficiency and effectiveness. Also, planning includes determination of objectives, setting rules and procedures, determining projects, setting policies and strategies, budgeting, etc. in an organizational environment. Planning is continuous and never-ending, and this is performed by managers at every level. That means you cannot do planning for only one time in an organization. Planning is a continuous process. It is pervasive. That means everywhere, at any time, planning should be a continuous process. So you cannot plan for a particular time, and you cannot stop planning for a particular time. Planning should be a continuous process in a successful organization. An organization where there is no planning will never be an organization. Similarly, an organization where there is no continuous planning, there will never be continuous growth. That is the meaning. Planning is continuous and never-ending, and this is performed by managers at every level. Understand the word never-ending. As long as organization exists, as long as planning exists. That's the meaning for that. Planning may short-term or long-term planning. According to the necessity, you can do planning in short-term or for long-term. If it is for a particular, within 2012 you want to achieve something, it is a long-term planning. Within 2020 you want to achieve, it is called within 2012 you want to achieve, it is short-term planning. Within 2020 you want to achieve, it is called long-term planning. You want to complete this MBA degree, it is a short-term planning. You want to become an IAS officer, it is a long-term planning. Similarly, planning helps the organization to face change and uncertainty. Change and uncertainty, that means in organization, change is a must and it is never ending. So planning is also a must and never ending. And you have to plan to avoid uncertainty. That's what the planning. The next function we are going to discuss is organizing. Organizing involves bringing together the man, material, machine for achieving the goal. In an every organization, there will be a goal. To achieve that goal, we need 3 M's. That's called men, material, and machine. So, organizing involves how to organize the manpower, how to organize the material, how to organize the machineries. So, that is why the 3 M's very important to achieve the goal under the concept called organizing. Organizing provides the means and avenues for attainment of the objectives. Means and avenues. That means to achieve the goal, what are the environment you have to obtain. That is what the meaning of the word means and avenues. Then, Lewis Allen defined organizing as organizing is the process of identifying and grouping the work to be performed, defining and delegating responsibility and authority, and establishing relationship for the purpose of enabling people to work most effectively together in accomplishing the objective. That means, Allen defined to achieve the objective, organizing is the process of identifying and grouping the work to be performed, defining and delegating responsibility and authority, establishing relationship for the purpose of enabling people to work most effectively together in accomplishing the objective. Next, Foyle defined organizing as to organize a business is to provide it with everything useful to its functioning, called raw material, tools, capital, and personnel. Similarly, organizing can be defined as a sound organization helps to avoid duplication of work and overlapping of effort. Organizing is a process involved in the organizing process, determination and enumeration of activities, grouping and assignment of activities, allocation of fixed responsibility to definite persons, delegation of authority are the steps involved in organizing process. Also, organizing helps to increase the efficiency, reduce the cost. Without this organizing function, in any management, other functions are of no use. Organizing is an important function of a management. That is what organizing. Next function called staffing. Management is the art of getting things done through others. Any business success depends upon the people involved. So staffing is a major function. That's why Kuhns and O'Donnell defined managerial function. Staffing involves the manning the organizational structure through proper and effective selection, appraisal, and the development of personnel to fill the roles designed into the structure. Therefore, staffing involves proper selection, proper remuneration, proper training and development, proper evaluation of personnel. Also, staffing is a function concerned with the people. Staffing has peculiar characteristics like intangible in nature, close personal relationship between executives and subordinates, and forecasting a changing job mix. Staffing is a difficult managerial function because it is concerned with the selection of persons who are properly qualified and mentally well adjusted to the situation. Next function called directing. Directing also deals with the human resources of the enterprise. Directing initiates organized action. Directing termed as motivation, directing, guiding, and stimulating and activating. A manager as a leader has to direct and guide all his subordinates and extract the work. Directing involves managing managers, workers, and work through motivation, leadership, and communication. Manager must know how to direct the resources. Effective implementation of any decision is possible only by direction. Direction is the process around which all performance revolves. Also, directing starts the work. Directing includes the sub-functions like communicating, guiding, leading, inspiring, supervising, etc. So, the most important sub-functions of a function of directing are communicating the information, guiding the staff members, leading the team, inspiring the subordinates, supervision of the subordinates. That's why Kuhn says directing is the interpersonal aspect of managing by which subordinates are led to understand and contribute effectively and efficiently to the attainment of enterprise objectives. Controlling. Next, controlling. Controlling is related to all other management functions. Heyman defines control as a process of checking to determine whether or not proper progress is being made towards the objective and goals, and acting if necessary to correct any deviation. Controlling is the process of checking to determine whether or not proper progress is being made towards the objectives and goals, and acting if necessary to correct any deviation. If there is any deviation, controlling function will control. That's why Kuhn and Dennell define controlling as a measurement and correction of the performance of activities of subordinates in order to make sure that enterprise objectives and plans devised to attain them are being accomplished. That's what controlling. There are sub-functions of controlling they are determination of standards for measuring work performance, measurement of actual performance, comparing actual performance with the standards, finding variance between the two and the reasons for variances, taking corrective actions to ensure attainment of objectives. Controlling involves identification of actual results, comparisons of actual results with the expected results as set in plan, finding the deviation, if any, and taking corrective action. It brings into light all bottlenecks in work performance and operates as a straight pointer to the needs of situation. Similarly, controlling ends with this explanation. Now, let us discuss about the principles of management. To do effective management function, certain principles to be followed. Principles ensure operational efficiency, financial economy, and profitable return on investment. Henry Fayol, the real father of management science, evolved 14 principles. They are division of work, authority and responsibility, discipline, unity of command, unity of direction, subordination of individual interest to general interest, remuneration, centralization, scalar chain, order, equity, stability of tenure of professional, initiative, spirit of cooperation as the 14 principles of management. So these 14 principles of management are very important. Division of work. Let us see what do you mean by division of work, which is the first principles of management. Division. The objective is to derive benefits from the principle of specialization. If there exists an expert, from him the primary information should be collected and the benefits should be achieved. That is the objective. That is what we call the division of work. If there exists a fitter, he should be given an opportunity to do fitter related job. That is what the meaning of division of work. And then produces more and better work with the same effort. Similar effort contributed employees should be formed together as a team. That's what also the division of work. And the team should be assigned a particular job which is possible to them to achieve the maximum effort and also to achieve the objective. So, produces more and better work with the same effort. Division of work produces more and better effort with the same effort. Similarly, division of work as a principle is a specialization can be applied in all type of activities like technical and managerial. This is what the division of work. Then, authority and responsibility. Authority is the right to give orders, command and to exact obedience. Now, I am the authority to give the lecture. Similarly, in a managerial environment, manager is an authority to take decision and the supervisor is a authority to direct them or supervise them. Then, responsibility is the obligation to perform the work in desired manner and directed by superior authorities. Authority and responsibility both are the two sides of management coin and complementary and mutually interdependent. Then next one is discipline. Good morning. Today we are going to discuss about the basic subject called the principles of management in any management studies. Today we are going to discuss the first unit. After completion of this session, the learner, the student should be able to understand the meaning of the word management, definitions of the management experts, functions of management called planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling. These functions of management also be called as organs of the management also. So, these are the objectives we are going to discuss. In addition, we are going to discuss about the management process, roles of a manager, interpersonal roles, informational roles, decisional roles, also features of management, nature of management, and also we are going to discuss whether management is a science or art or both, and if it is a science, what are the characteristics needed, if it is art, what are the characteristics it should possess, if it is both, what are the characteristics needed. So, with this objective, let us start with the first concept, what is management. So, regarding management, many authors gave their opinion. The first author we are going to discuss is Taylor. Taylor introduced about what is management, and he has defined. Taylor very clearly said management is a science, and also we are going to discuss about the Taylor's observation in the industry, features of scientific management as per Taylor, principles of scientific management as per Taylor. So next to Taylor, Henry Fayol clearly told that management is a modern one, and his view about management, and Henry Fayol's contributions also. Fayol told in the process of management, called the management process, there are 5 elements. They are planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, and controlling. In addition to that, there are 14 principles defined as modern management principles. That also we are going to discuss. Also, additional principles also there, we are going to discuss about that also. Normally, there are managerial qualities. As per Fayol, managerial qualities required 6 types of qualities: physical qualities, mental qualities, moral, education, technical, and experience. So these are the 6 qualities required for managerial. And also there are studies about management by different schools. One of the popular study is Hawthorne study. So under Hawthorne study, Hawthorne gave introduction about what is management. In addition to that, Elton Mayo also gave a management definition. There are illumination experiments, relay assembly test group, impact of relay assembly test for experiments, mass interviewing program, impact of mass interviewing group, the bang wiring observation group, etc. First, let us discuss about the meaning of the word management. Management is an art of getting things done. It is done, and it is also full-fledged science with a systematic body of knowledge. It is universal process by which an organization realizes its objectives in a planned way. So this is the management meaning given by many authors in different way. So management means management is an art of getting things done, and it is also full-fledged science with a systematic body of knowledge. Management is universal process by which an organization realizes its objectives in a planned way. Let us go one by one. Let us see the definition given by Mary Parker Follett. As per Mary Parker, management is the art of getting things done through people. So, if you are running a management means, you should be capable to extract a job from others. You should not do the job. That is what the administration called management. Similarly, Kuhn's defined management is the art of getting things done through and with the people in formally organized groups. So he has changed formally organized groups. It is the art of creating an environment in which people can perform and individuals could cooperate towards attaining group goals. This is what Kuhn's definition. Similarly, F.W. Taylor defined management is the art of knowing what you want to do in the best and the cheapest way. This is what Taylor defined. Similarly, many other authors defined, like Rosemoore, management means decision making. Like Allen defined, What a manager does is called management. So there are many management concepts exist. Let us see the introduction. Management awareness and the concepts were introduced only after the Industrial Revolution in Europe. So management was initially introduced from Europe, and also it has been utilized in growth and diversification of business enterprises. Management has been used as a replacement of human and animal power by machines. It is a new invention and increased demand for goods. Management is a development, gives rapid development achieved in the field of communication, transportation, automation, and energy. All these major achievements achieved only by the organized efforts. So these are the things while discussing about the management we should keep in mind. Let us discuss about the functions of management. Planning. Planning foresees the future and focuses attention on events, or planning aids manager in mixing things the way they wish them to happen. So simply if I say, planning is a methodology or a method to be adopted by any management or a manager who is running the management, about always with focusing attention. The next function is called organizing. Organization is a man-made system designed to combine a complex of man, material, machine, and other resources into an efficient, effective, and variable business enterprises. So organizing is a man-made system designed to combine a complex of, it is a matter of integration, where man, material, machinery, 3M, and other resources, of course it may be money, into an efficient and effective into an enterprise. Next function, staffing. Staffing tries to foresee the further manpower needs and considers right selection through an appropriate selection process. It also tries to develop the persons employed in the organization. So staffing is a foreseen job for improvement of the existing manpower to further manpower. So that is what we call the staffing. Directing. The management acts as a leader in directing the efforts of the staff towards a common goal by taking into account the capacity and willingness of the staff. By understanding the capacity and willingness of the members working in the management, under the management should act as a leader in directing the efforts of the staff members towards a common objective or common goal. That's what we call the directing. The next final function is controlling. Controlling means reviewing the performance of the employees in the light of the target of the plan. If deviation arises, the manager will set it right. Thus, management is the sum of total of steps like formulation and its transaction into places, execution and implementation of plans, and exercising control over plans. That means management is the sum of total of steps like formulation. What are the steps? Planning, organizing, controlling, directing, staffing. And its transaction into places. So it should be placed in the right places. Execution and implementation of plans and exercising control over plans. That's what comprises the word management. So these are the 5 functions of management. Management process starts from planning and it includes all the functions of the or partial functions of the management process. It depends upon the requirement of the management. Roles of a manager. The manager working under a management does 3 roles. One is interpersonal role, informational role, decisional role. So these are the 3 roles every manager should function. Interpersonal roles means he should be a figurehead and he should be a leader and he should be a liaison. So these are the 3 interpersonal roles every manager should adopt under a management. Similarly, informational role means he should monitor the information, he should disseminate it, and he should be a spokesperson. So monitoring, disseminating, being a spokesperson are the roles comes under the informational roles. The final one is a decision role. He should be an entrepreneur, he should be a disturbance handler, and he should be a good negotiator. He should be an entrepreneur because he is going to lead the team. He should have forecasting and he should know the meaning of the business. So he should act as an entrepreneur, and he should handle what are the hurdles while implementing a management concept. A management phases should be handled by a manager. That is why it is called a decisional role. Also, he should be a good negotiator. So all these three, entrepreneur, disturbance handler, negotiator, are the decisional roles. Thus, a manager does interpersonal roles includes figurehead, leader, liaison. Informational roles includes monitoring, disseminating, spokesman job, and decisional roles such as entrepreneur, disturbance handler, negotiator. So these are the major three roles includes with a manager. Management by exception, MBE. MBE is a important way of tailoring controls for efficiently and effectively to make sure they are designated to point out exception. Or otherwise we can say, by concentrating on exception from planned performance controls based on the time-honored exception principle. MBE allows managers to detect those places where their attention is required and should be given, which implies the use of MBE in controlling aspects. MBE is a system of identification and communication signal to managers when his attention is most wanted. Based on this concept, MBE can be used in other management processes also, though its primary focus revolved around controlling. So, MBE is a controlling concept. A manager establishes a quality control standard which lay on that 5 defects per 100 units produced are permissible. Under the management by exception principle, only significant deviation from the standard 6 or more defects per 100 units in this case would be brought to the notice of the manager concerned. Minor deviation from the standard are given less attention usually, but in some cases, less deviation may mean a great deal and have a greater significance than a large deviation in other cases. For example, cost of labor. So, MBE is a management concept expanded as management by exception. MBE principles should be practiced on conjunction with the principles of critical point control. Management should be selective in exercising control. MBE is an important technique of separating important information from the unimportant information one. Only such information which is critical for managerial control action is sent or forwarded to the management's knowledge. This facilitates the installing of an effective control system. Therefore, MBE is a concept which is attached with the functions of management called controlling. Then, ingredients of management by exception or management by MBE is measurement, projection, selection, observation, comparison, decision making. So these are the 6 ingredients should be mixed with MBE. Use of MBE is widely used. MBE is a widely used concept because MBE saves executive time and concentrates executive's efforts on major problems. MBE facilitates better delegation of authority. MBE makes better use of knowledge of trends, history, and available business data. MBE identifies crisis and critical problems and thus avoids uninformed, impulsive pushing of the panic button. MBE provides qualitative and quantitative yardsticks for judging situations and people. MBO, management by objective. MBO is a technique. Managers at the lower level are participating in setting targets. MBO is a process in which supervisor and subordinates jointly identify the objectives and desire to be accomplished by subordinates. 3 elements of MBO are setting the objectives, intermediate review, final review. The merits of MBO is results in better communication between supervisor and supervisor, subordinate to supervisor, supervisor to subordinate. Makes for greater clarity in subordinate's job assignment. MBO